Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy, brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau.
June is the month we celebrate dairy farmers across the nation. Love blueberries? We have expert advice on how to raise them yourself. And nothing tastes better at the beginning of summer than a Virginia crab cake.
Welcome back everyone. We're coming to you from a farm in Amelia County. And at this farm, like many throughout the state, late spring rains have delayed planting season. And we're going to bring you that story a little later on in our show. But first, Dave Miller tells us that dairy producers are urging consumers to get back to their roots.
Kyle Leonard and his daughter Isabelle have a small dairy farm in the Shenandoah Valley, milking 130 cows. It's a lifestyle and a family business they both love. In fact, Isabelle just finished a year as a Virginia dairy princess, serving as an ambassador for the industry.
Growing up on a dairy farm was the best gift that I ever received. While yes, it's hard work, hard work comes with its rewards. I am able to see calves grow from just 100 pounds to half a ton or more animals that produce milk for me every day. And I'm also able to work with the land and be better connected with the land and the animals that produce the food that I'm fortunate enough to eat.
As farmers, we are stewards of the land and what God has given us. So, we are try to do everything we can to make things better than they were, whether it be improve the land or the health of the cows or the way we do business. It's a huge responsibility that farmers have, and we don't take it lightly.
But many Virginia dairy farmers are having a difficult time making a profit, as milk prices have been low for almost 2 years. Milk exports are down due to a slowing world economy, and Americans are drinking less milk than before. Specifically, they are drinking it at fewer meals each day, and the youngest generations are drinking the least.
Butter has increased, which has been very good. We like that. But the consumers in general, for some reason, aren't drinking as much whole milk, and that's bothersome because it's it's nature's most perfect product.
It contains 7 essential nutrients and vitamins, including calcium, phosphorus, and a whole plethora of nutrients for the growing body.
The downward trend in American milk consumption has been well documented by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Despite the fact that it's an excellent food for children to consume, younger generations are steering away from milk. Competition from other drinks and concerns about childhood obesity are cited as 2 top concerns. Amber Sheridan with the Virginia-Maryland Milk Producer Cooperative says there are also occasional safety concerns, mostly spread by misleading advertisements or opponents of animal agriculture.
It's important for consumers to know and to be aware that every sample of milk is tested, no matter what type of farm that it comes from, whether it's an organic farm, a conventional farm. Every sample of milk is tested for antibiotics and goes through a number of other tests to ensure milk quality, safety, and wholesomeness.
Some dairy farmers are reaching out directly to consumers to tell their story through social media. Sheridan says that's a tremendous opportunity, but it's also a challenge since farmers have to do all that after they've taken care of their animals and farm chores.
We have some really strong advocates and people out there that are telling the message, they're saying the right things, and are out in front of consumers. People like Dairy Carey. She's a great one to follow and is telling the right message, and she has a ton of followers, and she's reaching out to consumers.
Milk is the most wholesome product that Mother Nature makes. It's made for the babies. So if it's made for babies, it's good for adults too.
In an age when nutrition and safety are driving a lot of decisions at the grocery store, Virginia dairy farmers are hoping consumers will rediscover milk as the perfect drink for themselves and their children. In Augusta County, Virginia, I'm Dave Miller.
Virginia's dairy industry is the fourth largest sector of the Old Dominion's farm economy, generating $347 million each year. There are 737 dairy farms in the Old Dominion. The highest concentration of them is located in the Shenandoah Valley and other western and central areas. But there are other dairy farms spread across the state. Virginia's nearly 1.5 million dairy cows each produce about 19,462 pounds of milk a year.
Hi, today we're going to be talking about blueberries from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
I love being a dairy farmer because it's an adventure to be a dairy farmer. It's a new beginning every day.
Every day I can get up in the morning and have a smile on my face, whether it's raining or whether the sun's shining. I love what I do.
Growing up on a dairy farm, I think you learn to work really hard and don't take anything for granted.
There's a lot of work to do on a dairy farm. You have to be committed.
It's a huge responsibility that we have being farmers. We take pride in it and we're proud to be able to do it.
Every day we have the opportunity to provide a wholesome product that's vitamin rich and nutrient full.
It's a feel-good feeling knowing that I'm putting food on somebody else's table and that I'm doing a good job doing it.
I'm Ken Smith.
I'm Ben Smith, and I'm dedicated to dairy, my cows, my milk, my land.
Blueberries are a delicious summertime treat. Chris Mullins with Virginia Cooperative Extension shows us how you can grow them from the ground up.
Well, hi, today we're going to be talking about blueberries. We're here at Virginia State University. We're here with Dr. Reza Rafi. He's a berry specialist. Reza, are blueberries a good crop for home growers?
I think so. Given that they are managed properly, I think it could be a really fascinating and interesting crop for homeowners.
I agree. What's one of the first things they should do if they're interested in maybe putting some blueberry plants out in their yard?
I think first thing to do is to research. Research the soil type that you have and also the varieties, the type of variety that you want to plant. Those are extremely important in being able to grow quality plants for blueberries.
Now you mentioned soil. If you get a soil test done, it'll tell you different things like the nutrient levels and the pH. Is all that important for blueberries?
It's extremely important because blueberry is one of those crops that actually prefers low pH. The pH as low as 5 or below 5 is preferred. And we all know that unfortunately in Virginia we don't have that many areas that they have that pH.
What's one of the best ways to do that, to lower the pH?
Well, the best way to do that is you can, 6 months before you start planting your blueberry, you can buy sulfur, powder sulfur,
right.
And for every 100 square feet you can add 1 pound of that. That if you have sandy soil, that would be able to bring down 1 unit your pH. So if you have 1 pound in 100 square feet, would be able to bring it down to 5.
Okay.
The other thing that we usually do at with our research facility is we use a lot of pine bark to be able to maintain that lower low pH for the blueberries.
Okay, so just incorporate the pine bark into the soil.
Yes.
And even mulch with it.
Absolutely, but what's really important, because blueberry has a shallow root system, it's really important to lift it up. You don't want to, you want to grow it on raised bed.
Okay, raised bed.
Raised bed, and then you mix that raised bed with pine bark.
Okay.
That's the best way to do it, and it's just the best, you create the best condition for the root system to be able to thrive.
Okay. So you mentioned they're shallow rooted, so probably in terms of fertilization and watering throughout the growing season, they don't need a lot, I guess.
They do actually, on weekly basis, you probably need 2 inches of water.
2 inches of water a week, okay.
On weekly basis to be able to grow blueberries, and that's adequate. And then in terms of fertilizer, they are not heavy users, heavy feeders, we should say.
Okay.
And but they need fertilizer during the growing season. The most sensitive one is during the blooming. That's when the first time you start. Make sure you start using fertilizer at the bloom time.
Okay, I see. Reza, what are a couple of the tips that would really help homeowners have good blueberries year after year?
I think the most important thing is for a young blueberry, a 1-year-old blueberry, when you plant them that first year, they bloom so much that they actually would not allow the plant to develop. So what you need to do that first year, you really need to get rid of all the blooms. Okay. That sets up the root system and the plant for a better future. I think the future to the development of the growth and so on. So it's really important to remove all the blooms in the first year. And then the other thing is pruning. Pruning is extremely important. What you need to do from the 3rd year, you need to go in there and remove all the dead wood area, because the blueberry, after the second or third year, the wood is not very productive. So you want to go in there and remove some of the wood, dead wood, dead branches, and then you have lots of twigs in there that you want to go ahead and remove that. And pruning blueberry is extremely important in blueberry production.
So production-wise, if people can really do the research, look at the varieties they want, get that pH right in their soil, think about how many they want to plant and how they want to plant them, maybe on raised beds.
Right. Also, what's really important is, Chris, is to be able to use, there are 3 different types of blueberries. There's rabbit eye, northern high bush, and southern high bush.
Okay.
What you get at your local supermarket is usually high bush, northern high bush type. But there are southern high bush, which is a cross between rabbit eye and northern high bush. They are tasty and very good quality. But the rabbit eye, they are easier to grow rabbit eye type blueberries, which within that rabbit eye type, there are many varieties that one could grow. But also easier to grow. They are not as sensitive to low pH as northern high bush. So that is, if you want to, you don't have the perfect condition to grow blueberry, you seriously want to consider rabbit eye type blueberries.
Well, that sounds great. I think these few tips here could help homeowners as they're thinking about planting, or if they already have some blueberries at their house. And for more information about blueberries or their production, please contact your local county extension office and talk to a master gardener. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins, and we'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu.
It wouldn't be summertime in Virginia without some crab cakes on the menu. Chef John Maxwell shows us his recipe for Virginia-style crab cakes next in the heart of the home.
90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made our local farmers a promise to protect and preserve a way of life they'd worked so hard to establish. Today, our insurance agents work to protect all Virginians, not just farmers. Anyone can be a Farm Bureau member, but the original promise remains. There's a local Farm Bureau in every county of the state. We want to keep Virginia, Virginia. Visit our websites at farmbureauadvantage.com and vafarmbureau.org.
Boating under the influence is illegal no matter where you boat. Law enforcement officers will be conducting heightened enforcement patrols during Operation Drywater, looking for boaters who are boating under the influence. Alcohol is the leading contributing factor in recreational boating deaths. Stay safe, stay sober, never boat under the influence.
Virginia crabs are making a comeback, and that's great news for the environment, the health of the Chesapeake Bay, and crab lovers everywhere. The Virginia Marine Resources Commission announced this spring it was cautiously optimistic that the blue crab population was reproducing well, with an estimated count of 553 million crabs. Blue crabs are the 3rd most valuable seafood harvested in Virginia, behind sea scallops and clams. More than 6,000 watermen harvest from the Chesapeake Bay and the Atlantic Ocean. Aquaculture products from Virginia include crabs, wild and farm-raised oysters, clams, and finfish.
Crab cakes are a summertime favorite, and today Chef John Maxwell adds a Virginia twist to this dish in the heart of the home, courtesy of our friends from Relay Foods.
Hi, welcome to Heart of the Home. We're here at Meadow Hall at Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia, and we're getting ready to play with some really nice food. We've got a recipe tonight for Chesapeake Bay crab cakes. Now, everybody knows the best crab on the planet comes from the Chesapeake Bay, so we're going to be playing with that. The first thing we've got is a bowl here, and I'm going to throw my filler in. The filler for me is crab meat. So my crab cakes don't have a lot of bread filling in them. They've got mostly crab filling in them. So I'm taking some good jumbo lump. I like jumbo lump because it tastes good, but mostly because I don't have to pick shell out of it. Right. And I'm going to add some of this claw crab meat. Now, this is less expensive than lump. It comes from the claws of the crab, right? And it's got a protein in it that makes it sticky, so it helps hold the stuff together. All right? I'm going to throw some chives in there. And instead of trying to chop one chive at a time, I take the whole bunch, chop off a few from the end, and now I can hold these for later. So those go in there. All right. I'm going to add some onion. All right. A little bit of Old Bay seasoning. All right. And some lemon juice. I'm going to mix this all up. All right. And I want that lemon juice to kind of sit there for a little bit. And I'll toss it again in a second. I want to break this all up. So while the lemon juice is marinating here a little bit, I'm going to take a little break, and we'll come right back. Okay, we've let the lemon juice sit into the crab meat a little bit, and it's all in there nice. And we're going to put an egg in the center of this well. Right there, throw that out. And I'm going to add some mayonnaise to help hold it together. All right, a little bit of Tabasco, a little bit more Tabasco, all right. Some Dijon mustard, all right. And now I'm going to mix this up. Now, as I said, this is pretty well tightened. If you need to, if the claw crab doesn't have enough protein, all right, or if you just want the insurance, then add a little bit of breadcrumbs. If you're going to use the breadcrumbs, use what we call the meaty pond, which is the center of it, no crust on it, so you don't get that brown look. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit in there, all right, and mix that around. Let's see if my pan is hot now. All right. We don't need a lot of butter on here, just a bit. Right. Now I'm going to take and just put a couple of nice cakes in here. And these will take about 3 or 4 minutes to cook. Very quick dinner. All right. Now, we should get this microphone. Can you hear that sizzling a little bit? All right. Well, we'll be back when these have browned on one side. We'll turn them over and we'll see what we can have for dinner. All right, well, we've got the crab cakes cooking in the pan. And remember, we combined eggs and mayonnaise and Dijon mustard and chives and onions, all kinds of wonderful things. Most of the food came from our friends at Relay Foods. The crab meat, wonderful, wonderful jumbo lump and claw crab meat. So we're going to get ready to put this on a plate. Right? And I'm going to put down some cocktail sauce. This is just a mixture of horseradish and chili sauce with a little bit of lemon juice in it. All right. And now I'm going to put these crab cakes on here. And it's going to take me a little while to outrun the rest of the crew so I can eat these crab cakes. But we'll see you next time back here at Meadow Hall at Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia, where we get a chance to play with some great food from our local farmers. And I can't wait to get into these crab cakes.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Relay Foods website at relayfoods.com.
There are 30,000 roadway accidents each year involving cars and farm machinery. Farmers will be moving equipment for planting and harvest season. The slow-moving vehicle triangle in red and fluorescent orange colors and flashing lights allow for quick identification. When you see an SMV sign on farm equipment, slow down, prepare for sudden stops and slow turns.
Patience will save lives. Just remember, we all need to share the road, we all need to be responsible, and we need to be guided by the law.
Motor vehicle safety starts with you.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our technical skills, our math, our engineering skills. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our organizational skills, our problem-solving skills. you're going to need our determination, our honesty, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
April showers apparently held off until May, causing record rainfalls in Virginia that led to a delay not only for the harvesting of winter crops, but also planting of some of the state staples like soybeans and small grains.
Colin Whittington is so busy these days because he can never get caught up on his farm. His pace had been set by daily drizzles and sometimes downpours through one of the wettest Mays on record. Across Virginia, a soggy spring has put a damper on planting season, making it difficult for grain producers to get seeds in the ground on the few sunny days Mother Nature allowed them.
It was one of the driest Aprils we've ever seen, and now it's one of the wettest Mays. So really probably the hardest thing is the workload on farmers in the area. Is everything's ready to do at once. Also, a lot of guys in this area also have cattle, and now they're trying to make hay, plant, and get ready to combine all at the same time.
Whittington isn't exaggerating. This May's rainy weather is definitely one for the record books.
We're talking over 8.5 inches of rain fallen, and that puts us in a top 5 and maybe even higher than that. You're talking at least a decade since we've seen that, but really some of the records go back to the 1800s when you start talking about top 1 or even top 4. So a really tough May for farmers in central Virginia.
As of Memorial Day weekend, there was still standing water in some fields, making it difficult to use heavy farm equipment. Since corn and soybean plantings are already as much as 2 weeks late, they overlap the harvest season for wheat. Truly, time is not a friend of the Virginia farmer this spring.
Back to small grains, wheat and barley, there's been limited time to get any fungicide applications on. And it's been a very bad year for disease. If the rains come later, we could still make a good crop. If they don't, we could be in trouble. The small grain crop is going to be up and down and probably short this year because of the weather and also some late freeze damage on a lot of the wheat and barley.
Adding to many farmers' worries, a long-range forecast for Virginia this summer predicts temperatures to be cooler than normal. This could cause even more headaches for farmers down the road.
We're transitioning from an El Nino to a La Nina season, which means we are going to be a little bit cooler and wetter than normal for the summer season, which doesn't bode well for planting crops and for crops to grow if we stay this wet.
It hadn't only been wet, it's been cloudy in May, and sunshine is great to see. It does every living plant and animal good. The corn especially has been having a tough time with the lack of sunlight, so this is really helping the corn crop.
Of course, the weather is always a gamble for farmers, so it looks like Whittington will just have to keep working come rain or shine.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.